Hey guys, we have a lot to get through today, not a lot of time, so let's get right through it. Today we are comparing this Bronco 2-door to this Bronco 4-door. If you guys are new to the channel, this is Performance on Wheels. My name is Austin, this is my dad Todd, and we just recently took delivery of this Bronco 4-door Wildtrak. We have owned this Bronco 2-door Big Bend for about 4 months now, and today we're going to compare the differences between the Bronco 2-door, the Bronco 4-door, and which one you should buy.
If you have other interest on the Bronco, make sure you check out some of our other videos where we compare the trim packages, the price differences, all sorts of stuff related to Broncos. But stay tuned for 4-door versus 2-door.
Before we get started, let's go over the topics that we're going to go over in this video comparing the 2- and 4-door. We're going to start with the back seats. Overall, the comfort differences and what it feels like sitting in the back seats of the 2-door, sitting in the back seats of the 4-door, which one we like better, and overall the differences between the two. Then we're going to go ahead and move back a little bit further to the trunk. Obviously, the 4-door is a bit longer, so let's talk about the differences in size in the trunk, how much further the back seats sit, or if there's any more trunk space at all. We're going to go over that as well. Not only that, but we're going to take them out on the road and drive them. We're going to share both of our opinions being behind the wheel of the 2- and 4-door, what they're like driving on some winter roads here in the state of Minnesota. But let's get started with the back seats.
We are going to do our best to keep the trim differences out of the opinions here and just talk merely on the size differences.
Yes, they are very different trims. We will have a video comparing the trims, but let's get into sizes. Let's go ahead and get started with the overall seat comfort in the back of the Bronco 2- and 4-door, starting with what it is like getting in and out of them.
So you know where we're standing here. We went to each of the front seats in both the 2-door and the 4-door, and I adjusted them being 6 feet tall to where I could comfortably go as forward as possible, but still be comfortable. So that's where these front seats are sitting right now. Let's see what it's like getting into the 4-door. We have the running boards as an option on both the Wildtrak and the Big Bend. You'll see that I do have to be mindful of my head getting in and out, otherwise I will whack that. They have that nice grab handle getting in. You have the door, so that is easy. It's still a fairly narrow passageway to get in here. And believe it or not, even with the seat forward, there's not tremendous amounts of leg room in the back of the 4-door. Let's have Austin jump in the back of the 2-door and see what that's all about.
So getting into the 2-door, there is another step involved. So there is this handy dandy handle that they do actually have on the 4-door, or the 2-door I meant, and you just grab that handle, it folds the seat forward, and it also moves it in one sway. So I grab that handle, folds it forward, seat moves forward, and then I step on that optional step, put another foot back in the back seat, sort of crawl and weasel my way in between the B pillar and the seat. I pull the seat back, then I pull the top of the seat back, I sit down, and boom. It's easy as that. It is a bit more of a hassle getting in and out, and I will say that the narrow space in between the seat and the B pillar of the Bronco can be a bit of a pain in the butt. And I do commonly whack my head on the roof trying to sneak my way out between here. However, once you're back there, it's not bad.
Yeah, you do have to get back there. My mother-in-law has been in the back seat of the 2-door, which gravity may have helped her get back to the seat a little bit. It's a bit of a challenge with where you have to position your feet to get back there.
Yeah.
But once you're back there, let's get into what that's like.
Let's do it. With 2 of us back here in the Bronco 4-door, this is totally doable.
Right.
I could easily get around. Sitting back here leg-wise, my knees sit a little bit higher than my legs, but they're at somewhat of a 90-degree angle. I wish the seat sat maybe a hair higher.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's roomy. However, unlike the Bronco 2-door, we actually have a middle seat and a seat belt here as well.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd want to do it.
No.
Between the pillar and the ground,
Yep.
as well as what that does for shoulder room. I mean,
Yep.
You can see that we can touch each other if we want to.
We did actually have 3 people, three adults in the back seat of the Bronco day 1 of ownership. Adult 1 was sort of sitting over here. Adult 2 was sitting over there. It did not work.
Yeah.
So if you were buying this in hopes to use the middle seat, yeah, it does not work. That's not going to work for you.
Your legs is the issue as well. So.
Yeah, because there is the transmission tunnel in the middle as well, so you have no leg room either.
One thing I definitely notice is, yeah, so you have your cup holders are in the armrest in the center in the 4-door there.
Yeah.
But what's goofy about it is the height of it. So it's like you have to lean if you want to enjoy the armrest. And the armrest on the doors, and this is kind of a complaint on both of them, is it's so small on the door that it's kind of awkward to use.
It is a little bit awkward.
You need mini-me arms.
However, you can use the upper one right under the window. That's not too bad.
Right. The last item on the 4-door Bronco worth mentioning is the fact that if you do hold the handle that goes forward, right, That's the handle I'm speaking about. You can actually recline just a little bit. There's 2 lock points, so you can be more like 90-degree sitting position, but you can also get like a 3/4 inch to an inch recline out of it, which does add adds the difference to the sitting position.
Surprisingly, you wouldn't think this. In my opinion, I think sitting in the back seat of the 2-door is more comfortable than sitting in the back seat of the 4-door. Yes, it is quite a hassle to get back here. However, once you are back here, you have more leg room forward-wise.
Yeah.
Way more knee room.
I agree.
You have more room side to side. I have more spots to put my arms.
Yeah.
And it's just overall roomier.
You are the optimistic one, and I will be the devil's advocate, okay? I'm not disagreeing with anything you said. I do feel ultimately more comfortable sitting back here. However, when I'm going to dig into the negatives of it.
Yeah.
So you can't necessarily bring your feet back because of the tunnel that the seat is sitting on.
No, you
But
cannot.
you can move them forward and you have more room for your legs.
But you could also just kind of, you know, do the sideways leg thing.
Right.
And just kind of sit like this on a long road trip. And I know it's hard for you guys to see me, but we'll get a clip of it here. But it's just, you can move around more. There's more areas to move, more areas to put your arm. You do still have a place to charge your phone. Granted, we are lacking cup holders back here.
Yeah. I would say that the back of the seat, it's a slightly odd position.
Yep.
But what I would say about the 4-door is the butt part of the seat is at a slightly odd position.
Yeah.
So they didn't nail either one of them. Both of them has the little tweaks. But at the end of the day, I agree. It is more comfortable once you get back in the 2-door sitting back here. Everything's a hard surface. So from your like elbow standpoint, your middle elbow doesn't have anything to rest on, but the 2 spots you can rest your elbow, everything's hard. Everything would be hot if you had your top off or whatever. So it's actually a surprise to me. I was not expecting this at all.
I wasn't either, but I would like to see this down in the comments below, because we're not trying to bring trims into play here. However, we're not a big fan of the front seats in this big bend. The back seats are even worse. They're just kind of hard. They're not very comfortable. I am curious if any of you have a higher trim 2-door, if your back seats are softer or have a bit more cushion than ours, or if that's just a back seat thing in the 2-door.
Yeah, now that you talk about front seats, let's hop up there really quick just to point out minimal differences. We really don't need to get in the front seats. That was kind of a joke because they're identical. The seats are identical. The only exception is that you have different seat rails on the 2-door to accommodate getting to the back seat. So it might have a little extra opportunity for leg room. Let's check that out to show you. Here I am, legs forward. I can fully extend my leg getting onto the kick plate, so we'll have to show you that on the 4-door as well. But the real thing I wanted to show you guys is obviously the door. We have a bigger door, and you'll notice that right in this section. With that bigger door also comes a bigger window. And this might be part of an issue that I've noticed is with that bigger glass, if you have it down a little bit, it can really be prone to some shaking in that 2-door. Let's hop over to the 4-door quick and check it out on the driver's side. Looking at the 4-door now, you can see that there's that whole panel that's missing compared to the 2-door. So you have a piece of glass that has some more rigidity to it, but you also have that shorter armrest. That armrest is the same size in both the 2-door and 4-door. You just get a little more plastic. I went ahead and put this seat all the way back, and you can see that if I were to I bet I'm getting about 1/4 to 1/2 inch more of leg room on the 2-door versus the 4-door. So if you are the sole owner of the Bronco and you are vertically challenged in the positive manner, meaning you're really freaking tall, you might want the 2-door.
That pretty much wraps up the back seats of the 2- and 4-door. Overall, to summarize it, we enjoy sitting in the back of the 2-door a lot more. I think it's more comfortable. However, it's hard to get back there and the seat quality isn't great. If we hop in the back of the 4-door, it's easier to get back there. However, there isn't really as much room as what it ultimately feels like. I do want to briefly talk about the tops. So here on the 4-door, we actually have more tops, believe it or not. We have 2 up front. We have 1 middle section that is just 1 piece removable. Then we have this back section as well. If we go over here to the 2-door, we have 2 single tops up front, and then this entire back piece is like basically the same as the last back piece on the 4-door. So this has to be entirely unbolted, where the second row of the 4-door is just a clip-on.
As we segue the video into talking about storage capacity and cargo room, I do want to point out that in the four-door, as long as you don't have the seats folded forward, you do have a nice opportunity to fit a bunch of stuff underneath those rear seats. Those rear seats in the two-door are right to the ground, so there is not an opportunity to do that. However, let's get into what's in the back of these things.
Now we're about to talk trunk space between the four-door and the two-door. However, I would like to say it would be greatly appreciative if you guys would take the time to go down, hit like, hit subscribe. We're really trying to grow our channel here on Performance on Wheels. It does truly help the algorithm if you guys would be willing to do that for us. Now let's go ahead and get into the trunks here. Let's go ahead and open them up, right?
Same functionality, two-door, four-door. You got that gate that swings along with the glass.
Rear wiper on both.
But now there's a dramatic difference.
There is a very large difference here. Very, very large. I would say it's not even comparable, really.
Right. Hey, how about you hop in the back of here, see what it looks like?
Okay, I can do that. How are you sitting? Oh, geez.
How you feeling over there?
I fit. Not gonna lie. Well, maybe. I don't know if it would shut, actually. Yeah. Unfortunately, Grandma Ida is not around for this video, so we don't have just all of her luggage to fill the trunks with to truly test how much each one can fit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the Bronco two-door practical video.
So if you want some numbers and you're a numbers type of person, with the seats folded up, two-door versus four-door, there is a 16 cubic foot difference in cargo room. And if we fold those seats down,
it is a 32 cubic foot difference.
That's dramatic.
That is huge. That is a massive amount of space.
There are a couple other small differences when you just talk about overall in the back. Some of those are related to trim, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. For example, we have speakers here on the two-door. There might be a little cubby there, so you do have to take what you're seeing here with a grain of salt. But what you don't have to take with a grain of salt is the exact same jack location and the small storage bin on both the two-door and four-door. They are identical, but there's obviously a large difference. One thing that I will admit is nice on the two-door versus the four-door is I actually have to go over here. I either have to crawl in the back or I have to go to that back passenger door to put my headrest down and to fold the seat down. And now I'm going to run over to the other side of the vehicle so I can also put my headrest down and put my seat down. Let's see how easy that is to do over on the two-door.
See, that's where my dad is actually wrong. You would think it's very easy by just simply pulling the strap and the headrest coming down and the seat folding forward, which that is pretty easy. However, the seat's not flat, so I actually have to run over here quick, come open up this door. You gotta go over here. I actually have to move the driver's seat forward. Then I gotta come back here and I grab the floor. The floor comes forward, then the floor folds up. Then I gotta run back here. Gotta grab this button, pull the strap, headrest down goes the seat. Now they're flat. So there's actually a little bit longer of a process to make them totally flat back here. Now that we have seen the differences between the back seats and the trunk in the two and four door, I think it's safe to say the main reason you would purchase the four door is the trunk. The trunk is huge. It is a massive difference between the two and four door. But the back seats of the two door, I think, currently have the win. So I would prefer riding in the two doors back seats on a road trip than the four doors. However,
assuming you don't have a broken leg to get back there.
Assuming you don't have a broken leg. However, if part of your family is currently in a car seat or older, the four door is the way to go because of the accessibility and just simply getting into the back.
What if you have a strange obsession with Costco and you need a lot of groceries every week?
This would be totally fine. Just fold the seats down.
All right. Now that we've gone over all the ins and outs of the inside and the outside differences of the Bronco, let's get in these things and drive it. We'll let you guys know what it's like to drive that 16-inch wheelbase difference between the two-door and four-door, trying to take into account that these trims are dramatically different.
We're currently trying to compare how different the turning radius is between the two and four door.
What we did is we lined our back tire up in the center with the cone that you guys see. And now we're just holding at full lock. And you can notice how close we are from that cone. You would think, being the two-door, that there would be this dramatically better turning radius.
I'm not seeing a dramatically bigger turning radius difference at all.
It is way closer than I would have thought.
Yeah, mine too. Actually, looking at the two of them and looking at my outside tire, I'd say it's within 2 to 3 inches, actually.
So one of my arguments was going to be that the two-door Bronco is so much easier to drive around town, which it is when you're talking about like parallel parking, obviously. You have a 15-inch difference in length, but when it comes to maneuvering around town, you have about the same deal between the two and the four-door.
That's pretty impressive, actually. I never would have guessed that. Granted, I am slowly getting further and further away from that cone.
As am I.
All right, so we both drove the two of them, and after driving them back to back, I just think there's way too many variables into them driving very different when we're talking about the trims. The Wild Trek that we have is, I mean, it's decked out to the limit. So it's got the Haas suspension, the Raptor steering rack, 35-inch tires. The ride is just so unbelievably different that I think comparing the two of them would be very unfair. But just being behind the wheel of them, I would just say the only main difference is you notice is your mirrors, there's another door behind you, and the mirror looks like it's a lot further out.
Yeah, if anything, it's the drivability around town. You have 15 inches less of vehicle that's following you.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. But yeah, overall, I just don't think it's fair to compare what they feel like just driving. Granted, I can assure you this thing is way squirrelier. Like the back end will constantly try to slide out on you, and it can be quite challenging to correct. We have had some commenters say that they haven't had issues. Granted, they have bigger tires on, so it could very well play into the tires we have on ours. But yeah, this thing will step out on you, and it's very hard to correct because of the incredibly short wheelbase, where that one just feels way more stable because of its just length.
That's really the point that I wanted to make too, is it just feels more stable. You have a longer distance of wheels, so there's greater variance in the terrain that the wheels are touching. It gives you more stability as you're driving down the road. This one, at times, depending on the circumstance, when I say this one, we're in the two-door right now, it can just, exactly, your words are good. It can feel squirrelier, it can feel not as assuring, or it doesn't give you as much confidence driving down the road. Yeah. Especially when you're talking about either rough terrain or slippery terrain, anything other than just driving down dry, smooth roads. The four-door gives you a greater sense of confidence.
Well, I also, just in my opinion, I haven't driven them too much, but I feel like at higher speeds, I feel more confident going like highway speeds in the four-door than I do in the two-door.
Absolutely.
I just feel more confident. It feels like I have better control of the vehicle.
Guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe button for additional videos comparing trims, comparing dollar amount differences on the Bronco. If you happen to be cross-shopping, waiting for your Bronco to show up, in the market for a Bronco, whatever you are watching this video for related to a Bronco, we have many other videos, so hit that subscribe button.
We personally have both of these Broncos in our garage, in our possession, so if you have any ideas between the two of these Broncos, let us know in the comments below, and we will get to making some videos. It's starting to warm up here in Minnesota, so we're going to be out just making videos. It's just a good time. So thank you guys so much. Look forward to seeing you next time.